I'm Pradeep Vyawahare. I'm an energy systems analyst at Argonne National Laboratory. And today I'm going to present the demonstration of estimating carbon intensity for hydrogen production using the GREET-Hydrogen module. So what is GREET-Hydrogen? GREET is a life cycle analysis tool that is being developed from 1995 with the support from DOE. And every year we release GREET with new updates and expansions in the month of October. So you'd be seeing the new version of GREET within 2 weeks. It is available for free download on the GREET website, and it's free to use as well. We have about 50,000 registered users globally. These users come from various backgrounds such as industry and universities and government agencies. The system boundary for the GREET LCA model, we have divided into two types, GREET-1 and GREET-2. The GREET-1 is the well-to-pump system boundary, where you can see, in this case, I'm presenting hydrogen for hydrogen production, storage, transportation, and at the end use refilling station. On the vehicle side or GREET-2 side, you can see we do life cycle analysis of materials such as aluminum, steel, or concrete. GREET covers various metrics such as energy use, air pollutants, greenhouse gases, and water consumption. I would be focusing on greenhouse gases, and GREET estimates the carbon intensity using the CO2 equivalent, and we take into account the global warming impacts of these three greenhouse gases. GREET also covers many sectors of energy systems, such as petroleum sector, where you have conventional oil, shale oil, natural gas sector, where conventional natural gas, shale gas, electrical system, generation of electricity using nuclear, using natural gas generators, renewable energy fuels such as biodiesel, ethanol, and hydrogen. And I would be focusing on hydrogen today. So with the passing of Inflation Reduction Act under Section 45V, there are tax credits for producing the clean hydrogen. The credit is based on the well-to-gate carbon intensity of hydrogen produced hydrogen, which should be determined by the GREET model. This well-to-gate system boundary emissions include the feedstock such as natural gas extraction, delivery, and conversion to the hydrogen. It also includes, if you have CCS, the carbon capture and sequestration. Point to note that every facility will have a different hydrogen carbon intensity depending upon the feedstock they use and the performance of the facility. On the right hand side, you can see there are four tiers of credits, and up to maximum $3 per kilogram of hydrogen tax credit can be availed if the carbon intensity is below 0.45. So in regards to the IRA, we developed the GREET-Hydrogen module, which is a very user-friendly version where hydrogen producers can input their facility data in an interactive interface. The GREET-Hydrogen module is available for free to use at the GREET website linked on the screen. And we also have a demonstration tool, YouTube tutorial to teach how to use the module. And I'm also going to demonstrate that. So how does the GREET-Hydrogen module interface look like? So it's an Excel-based module. You have a choice of inputs as a user. They can input a target year, the hydrogen production technology pathway, the feedstock type, and their facility foreground data. The outputs users get is well-to-gate carbon intensity of hydrogen, the direct and indirect facility emissions, as well as in case of CCS or export, they can get co-product credits. What are the key pathways and features in hydrogen module? So the key hydrogen pathways in the module are steam methane reforming, which is the conventional method to produce hydrogen, very common. The pathway of new interest is autothermal reforming that we have. Electrolysis pathways such as low temperature electrolysis, like PEM electrolysis, or high temperature electrolysis using solid oxide electrolyzer cell. We have those two pathways as well. And in gasification, we have coal and biomass gasification pathways. There are 2 upcoming pathways in the new GREET hydrogen module that is planned to be released between October and December this year. These 2 pathways are byproduct hydrogen from chlorine plants and then methane pyrolysis. The main features of the module is that user have choice to enter their feedstock between natural gas or renewable natural gas. User has a choice to input the source of their electricity. If user has, instead of grid electricity, uses solar or wind, they can choose to select that. Also, there are options for carbon capture and sequestration for SMR, autothermal reforming, coal and biomass gasification pathways. User have choice to combine 2 technologies as well, such as SMR and PEM electrolysis. And then there are steam export options, oxygen export in case of electrolysis, nitrogen export in case of autothermal reforming. There are 2 upcoming features that we will have in the new hydrogen module would be to customize the feedstock, such as natural gas. Some refineries, they have tail gas, which different composition than natural gas to produce hydrogen. They will be able to manipulate or to customize their feedstock properties. Additional feature is hydrogen product pressure and purity. So different sources of technologies produce hydrogen at different composition. So they will be able to customize their purity and pressure as well. So we did our own research on various gray, blue, and green hydrogen pathways, and did the well-to-get LCA, and here are the results for those. Please keep in mind that these results may differ depending upon the facility, performance, and their feedstock type. Our research results are also documented in the link below, that report that we released last year. So you can see from this figure that blue hydrogen and the electrolysis hydrogen, green or nuclear hydrogen, they are eligible to qualify for certain IRA credits. With this, I would like to acknowledge DOE's Hydrogen Fuel Cell Technology Office for supporting us over 2 decades. And I would like to demonstrate a few examples of the hydrogen module. So as you can see, this is how the GREET hydrogen module looks like. And first, user has a choice of selecting a year, simulation year they want to select. So I would be selecting 2023 just as an example. And autothermal reforming is of interest currently, so I would be choosing that pathway technology. I can give another example later. Once selected, user has a choice to select either conventional natural gas or landfill gas. Let me increase the zoom in so that everyone can see properly. Yeah. Once, so for this case, I would like to show you a blending example of natural gas and landfill gas as a feedstock for the autothermal reforming pathway. And once we select that, user can select enter process details and can enter their foreground data from the industry. Say, for example, natural gas, and then user can choose the amount of hydrogen produced. The user has a choice to select different units from a drop-down menu, their electricity consumption, and any steam that is being exported to the other facility. So I'm going to select 0 for now. Then user has a choice to select the source of electricity. So it could be regional grid, US average grid, or renewable source. So they can select from the drop-down menu. For example, right now I'm going to choose US average grid mix. With CCS, autothermal reforming, it's easier to capture carbon. So I'm going to show an example with 80 kilograms or about 96% capture rate. And in the newer version of model, user will have a display which showing how much is the capture rate as well. And for now, let's assume 100% conventional natural gas and no landfill gas. And user can hit calculate and get the carbon intensity of the hydrogen produced. So here you have three types of columns: direct facility emissions, which are emitted from the facility; indirect facility emissions. There's a third row which shows GHGs, that is of interest to everyone, and then co-product credits. So since there is no steam export or no nitrogen export here, we have 0 co-product credits, and then we sum them all up, and then we get the carbon intensity in kilogram per kilogram hydrogen units. If user choose to have a different region instead of, say, California for their electricity source, then they can hit calculate, choose California and hit calculate, and they can get the updated carbon intensity for their facility. User also has a choice to select a user-defined mix of their electricity source. So if they have RECs, they can have 100% renewable electricity, and they can estimate the carbon intensity. Sorry, it will take a bit. Say 100% solar, and they can calculate the updated carbon intensity. And in this case, I chose the feedstock type as 100% conventional. Let's go for 90% conventional natural gas and 10% landfill gas feedstock blend. And then you can also estimate the updated carbon intensity like this. So I'm gonna, if you gonna hit reset and go back to the first page, and I will give you another example for low temperature electrolysis, which is of another interest. PEM electrolysis is also very common. And let me drag it here. So user can put the electric intensity of their electrolyzer as an input and estimate the carbon intensity of the hydrogen produced. So here I'm taking 65 kilowatt hours per kilogram of hydrogen production and choosing solar. If you have all renewable, your carbon intensity will be 0. Noting here that the embodied emissions with the electrolyzer production and solar PV production is not included, and it's also not directly mentioned in the IRA, so we would have to wait for the guidelines. User can choose grid mix based on their grid region, NPCC, and then they can calculate the carbon intensity, and as you can see, it's pretty high. The co-produced oxygen, they can choose the export of co-produced oxygen. What is the share of co-produced oxygen being exported? Let's say 100%, and then you can calculate the carbon intensity. You can see the co-product credits are provided here in this column, and the net carbon intensity is in green color here. So with this, I'm going to conclude my presentation. These are just the examples. You can find our module on the GREET website and download, play around, send an email to me if you have any questions. You can send email to the GREET support on the GREET website as well. So thank you. And if you have any questions, please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much for walking through that. I'm Morgan Rote with the Environmental Defense Fund, and I had a question about the methane assumptions.
Yes.
So my understanding is that the default numbers used are like 1%.
Yes.
1%, and one thing that we've been sort of alerting people to is that that is a conservative estimate for likely methane emissions upstream. And so I'm curious, from your perspective, is it possible to change that within the model, and how could you move to even more accurate numbers like basin-specific estimates?
Yes.
Is that a conversation to happen with DOEs like Argonne, or is that a conversation with EPA and with Treasury? I'm just curious how you think about the methane estimates.
So certainly, this is a very good question, first thing. So GREET has the capability to handle change in upstream methane emissions. But we have to wait for the guidelines. So this is the discussion between the between the DOE and Treasury. As one more thing to point out is that more research is needed because GREET is based on default numbers and we follow EPA's estimates, which is I think a top-down approach. So yeah, in that sense, once we receive the guidelines, which I think must be done by November this year or at the end of December, we can update and we can allow user to enter that parameter as well based on their own experimental results. Yeah, upstream emissions, yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. This might be a simple, dumb question, but are there time series within the model that have example years within each grid or balancing authority that has maybe hourly carbon intensity data for certain locations?
So currently in the module, we don't have that, but we do have the capability to incorporate that as well. Yeah, yeah. Not within the module. Yeah, yeah. So you have to take an average and then input in here. Yes. Yes. Hi.
Hello, thank you again for the presentation. Are you considering global warming potential of vented hydrogen at all as a credit back on the GREET model?
No, so that's a great question. Currently, GWP of hydrogen is not considered in GREET model, and I think it should be around. I have learned from literature is varies between 10 to 30, and same we have to wait for the guideline again if that has to be included or not. But I think again more research is needed to first estimate from where how much is leaking, like in the process. So, but certainly we do have the capability to incorporate that as well. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Hi, Okpalua, Washington Gas again. And so as a senior strategist, I get to use tools like this.
Yes.
And one of the interesting things having LCA certification as well is I'm working with the GREET model. It was quite frustrating anyways. But what do you think are the dangers of kind of putting this, and not just that, the fact that the IRA and the bill put so much power into this and so many things are undefined, not properly defined. What do you think are the dangers and how can you mitigate against that?
So, yeah, that's a very good question. So, there certainly there are dangers if there are various assumptions which can impact, because our main goal is to reduce the carbon footprint and help the environment, right? So, the dangers would be that we are not doing that. But to mitigate that, I think transparency is the most of utmost importance, and also audits are needed when estimating the carbon intensity or entering the foreground data. So but from our perspective, we develop the tool as transparent as possible for user to handle. Yeah. Use. Thank you.
Just want to clarify, the 10 to 30 hydrogen GWP is depending on the time horizon. So the 10 is for a 100-year time horizon, and the 30. It doesn't mean that there's a range and we aren't sure which one it is.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you.